G'day guys, welcome back to Beers and Breakevens for round 24. Good God, where the fuck has the season gone, Timmy? It has flown by.
Yeah, it's really taken off, hasn't it? I think particularly through that origin period, it sort of goes a little bit slower. You wait for games to get back to full strength, but felt like origin was yesterday, and bang, we've got less than a month to go.
It's wild. It is insane. Today's episode obviously brought to you by Blue Wealth Property. We had Tony in here last week, one of the all-time greats. They have got their webinar, their property showcase on the 15th of August. Kicks off at 7 p.m, I believe, 7 p.m. till 8:30. We have got the link in the description that if you would like to sign up for that, I will definitely be in there having a little Captain Cook, checking things out. So pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, one of the big ones is the showcase coming up. They do a few each year. Really big night for them. So I'll also be, just because of your love of webinars, I'll be logging into that one.
Webinar.
Yeah.
We need some Guru webinars.
Had Tony on last week.
Yeah, I had a look through Tony's Instagram the other day. He uploaded a video. I'm not sure if you've seen this. I wasn't aware of it. It was obviously a few years ago. Tony looked pretty different, but he was sitting on a stage talking to Wayne Bennett. And he says to Wayne, he asked him a question about like what it takes to build a team, and he sort of said team as in it could be a footy team, a business, a family, and Wayne's answer was really, really interesting. Worth going and have a look at. So it's on the Blue Wealth Property Instagram page. Go and have a look at it. Pretty cool stuff. Have you seen it or?
I haven't. I now have to wait an hour to get through this. So I'm very keen.
Yeah, it's very good. It's worth a
watch. Word of Wayne Bennett.
Wayne Bennett, one of the greats, the man in the mirror. Yeah, guys. So Blue Wealth Property, we'll have the link in the description. Go check it out. I think we're going to have Morts on over the next few weeks. Very keen to rip into Morts just quietly.
Yeah, one of the greats. Doggy's royalty. We'll be tearing him to shreds.
No doubt. Looking forward to it. Now, mate, this SuperCoach season is heating up between you and me just quietly. I was dead in the water, then you were dead in the water. And after 23 weeks of SuperCoach, after 35-odd trades or whatever it's been, there is a grand total of 13 points separating you and me. I scored 1352 on the weekend, finished with a rank of 5,175. What did you score on the weekend?
When you pick the same team as me every week, fair chance we're not going to be too different, mate. 1442 for the Stallions. So, mate, I maintained optimism through a semi-dark period. Nothing detrimental. The lights didn't go out, but a dark enough period.
They were dimmed.
They were dimmed.
Yeah.
And 1442. So I jumped another 1,000 spots up to 5,346 overall. Top 1% is, I think, it's about the top 1,550 or top 1,600. Geez, but I actually, as it stands, I just want to beat you.
Mate, I'm exactly the same. But I do feel like as much as we're 5,000, I feel like with our trades and our team as how it's set up, I feel like we are knocking on the door of that shit.
We're definitely a sniff.
We just need the Warriors to stop being the Warriors.
Yeah. You know the one that, talking depth-wise and looking dominoes falling, you never wish injury upon someone. So I think the one that's going to have a massive influence on our head-to-head and SuperCoach overall, don't want to get injured, but I hope Craig Bellamy rests Harry Grant for the next 4 weeks, because I've already got a backup, a few trades in hand as well if I wanted it, and a lot of people are running Harry Grant and Sonny Luke, or Harry Grant and, let's say, enough at hooker, you for one. So Harry Grant holds the fate of a lot of SuperCoaches.
And I would be all for it. I'm happy to flush a trade because the rest of you are fucked.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Geez, it'd rattle a few cages.
And you know what? If you got rid of Harry Grant, I don't even know who the fuck I would go to. Probably Cookie, but I'm not super confident on anyone else. I think that'd be... who's your second one? Brayley?
Brayley. yeah. He's like, oh, not that I haven't played him basically since Origin, but you sit there and go, oh, you know, hasn't been going great guns, but if Harry Grant would go down, I'd be like, geez, I'm happy to have Blake Brayley, because as you said, no one's really knocking the door down.
Well, Blake Brayley really is like a poor man's Sonny Luke, isn't he? Shout out to Sonny Luke, still fucking me sideways to this day. It's good. All right, now, mate, I thought it would be good because we obviously talk about our team every single week and we discuss our trades and whatnot, but it's been a while since we've sort of gone position by position and spoken about our team, and especially now that we are so close and there's only X amount of weeks left for you at home, following along who gets on that trophy. Some of us for the first time, some of us for the second time, potentially. Me. We need to be keeping track of our team and where the big differences are, I think is going to be key. So if we start at hooker, mate, I've got Harry Grant and Rua, I can't pronounce his last name, from the West Tigers, my Nuffarella, sitting there. Who are your hookers?
Yeah, Grant and Brayley. So,
you got enough too, do
you? Please. Yeah, so especially compared to the rest of SuperCoach, a spot I'm quite happy with.
Yeah. Front row forward.
Before we go into this, you've got 6 trades going into this week?
6 trades going into this week, yeah. What do you got?
And how much money?
Quite a bit.
I'm 3 trades left and 115K in the bank.
Yeah. 3 trades left?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so I've got 6 trades left this week. I'm going to make 2 trades. One of them, I will be bringing in Tino. So he's in my front row with Joe Tapane, Corey Horsburgh, and big Frank the Tank, the big swinging dick on the front row forward bench there. Yours?
Yeah, Frank the Tank, I heard him as well. I am looking at making no trades this week because they're not far off being 8 lopsided matches with really good matchups for popular SuperCoach players. The one trade I was looking at potentially making was Ramian to Dallin Watenis-Lesniak, which I snuck in by 2.5K. If I brought Dallin in, I'd be sitting someone quite good with a good matchup this week. We'll get Sit B starts a little bit later. I don't think it's a trade I need to do this week. So after this week, you'll have 4 left. I'll have 3. Front row's my problem area. I've got Joe Tarpany and Tohu Harris. And then on the bench, I've got Samuela Fainu and Frank the Tank Pele. So I'm more than happy to run Taps and Tohu for the rest of the season. But it leaves me light, and hence probably why I'm happy to save trades again this week and just not waste one that could backfire, because I just need to have a little bit of a contingency plan for if one of those 2 goes down. There's no buys for them. They're both likely to be playing for something relatively decent for the rest of the season, so shouldn't be resting, I wouldn't imagine. Tino's the ace up the sleeve I've probably got that if required, I'll bring him in. Payne Haas is an option as well. But yeah, certainly my lightest position on the field.
Yeah, and I mean, you did have to use a few trades over the last few weeks to get Kalen Pong. You didn't listen to me when I said to get him 8 weeks ago. So, hey, how did it feel paying $1 million for a player?
You know what?
I've never experienced it.
I did it, and stomaching it at the time and hitting confirm on that trade hurt. As soon as that game kicked off, he had an early try, I'm going to say.
Yeah, he scored the first try for Newcastle, yeah.
And I said that there's an SC Playbook WhatsApp group with subscribers, and I just said to him, even if he does nothing else from here or gets injured, I'm like, just being able to watch Newcastle without sitting behind the lounge was so enjoyable. And then the back end of the game, I got a message from you with about 30 minutes to go when he'd done nothing. He was on about 30, saying this could be our seasons he'd done because you skipped him. I said, mate, have some faith.
Credit to you.
Yeah. Stuck strong, and KP rewarded the faith to go nuts. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I paid over $1 million for him, but like, I wouldn't come in today if he went and had that bonkers last 20 minutes and I was still a non-owner. I'm okay with it. Okay.
I was having a look at his stats before, and we'll talk about it very soon, but KP, since the move to fullback, he has averaged 107 points per game. That's from 9 games. He didn't get the goal kick until his 5th game at fullback.
Dear Lord.
Like, it's unbelievable. Since getting the goal kicking, 180, 137, 96, 122, 121. So he would be averaging 120, 125, a little bit of quick maths there.
Unbelievable, hey?
Pretty wild.
It was the perfect storm last week because having not owned Ponga this season and biting the bullet with him, and then for Marju to also not do well at the same time as a non-owner, it worked out really well. So, yeah. And then going into the back row, mate, I'm running a decent sort of combination.
Sorry, just to interrupt. Yeah. I just did that maths.
Yeah.
So Kalen Ponga, since moving to fullback, is averaging 107. Since he got the goal kicking, he's gone 180, 137, 96, 122, 121 for a SuperCoach average of 131. 1 since getting the goal kicking. Cut that up, motherfuckers. Huge.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they started him at the start of the season, wouldn't it?
Tell me about it. Tell me
We
about
could have
it.
all picked him up at 500K.
131.
Oh.
That's better than what Turbo was doing in the touch football season.
Plus, Turbo average 141. Just saying.
Fair.
Across 25 rounds.
Still insane.
rounds. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Fucking wild.
Imagine if Turbo was a goal kicker that season.
I know.
He's averaged 170.
Fucking scary. Insane. I mean, I was, yeah. And obviously Turbo was, in a side that was absolutely humming. I guess Newcastle are now. But just, isn't it? You have to go back and just have a look at those stats occasionally to remind yourself of how good Turbo was that year. Yeah. Here's his last 8 weeks. 208, 144, 95, 226, 87, 179, 170, 229. Shout out to Tommy Burns in my draft comp who had him that year and managed to go out in straight sets of the finals. An incredible achievement.
What?
Yep.
The only Tommy Turbo draft owner to lose that season.
Yeah. Well, because he got rested or something in round 23.
Oh, okay.
So they all flew and then just all shit the bed that way. Hilarious. He doesn't bring it up that much.
2RF.
2RF. My 2RF as it stands right now, I have got Fafita, Hopgoat, Nikora, Tohu Harris, Johnny Bateman, and then Fainu. So the move that I'm making this week is I'm trading Matterson to Tino. We spoke about this a little bit in the green room, but I am leaning towards trading Matterson simply because he plays the Broncos this week. He's coming off the bench. I'm not super confident playing him this week. He plays the Penrith Panthers, I think, in 2 weeks' time, which I also wouldn't be super confident with. And then he has a bye. So I love Matto. I was so happy to have him. But I think off the back of a good score on the weekend, I'm going to cut my ties there and just take Tino. John Bateman was the one I wanted to trade, who I think John Bateman scores less points over the next few weeks than what Ryan Matterson does. But I know Bateman's going to score more points in round 27. And I think I just hold Bateman for that, essentially.
Yeah, when he first said it, I was sort of like, oh, questionable because...
Mate, when I first said it, I sort of went, oh, I don't know.
Matto was one of the more popular trade-ins last week, scored 83 points. And look, I'd imagine there'd be a handful out there buying him again this week. But the benching scheme, I said, if you weren't playing him this week and then you've got the buy round 27, as you said, you've got him 2 or 4 weeks. That's if you play him those weeks, you might be off the bench again.
Yep.
Bit of a shame for you that he plays after Tino, just if he was to be named to start. But these are the chances you take, aren't they?
Yeah, and I don't think I would have played Matto anyway, to be honest with you, this week. And I definitely wouldn't have played him against Penrith. So it's essentially I'm holding him to get one game and then it's... Yeah. And the beauty of the other thing I'm considering is, Timmy, that I'm going to get to round 27. There's a good chance I have 2 trades. If I had Matto, I would have to trade him. Whereas now I can try and make a move somewhere else as well. The other trade I'm making, I'm letting Gutho go. So I'm getting rid of my 2 Parramatta boys. And I'm thinking, I've got options here. Cam Munster was one I floated. DWZ was another one I floated. I think I'm going to go for a little bit of a pod play, I guess, and go James Tedesco, mate. As you jump off, I'm going to jump on.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
I pay up $1 million to get KP, rid myself of Teddy.
Yeah. And I downgrade 200K to grab Teddy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our 2RFs.
That's your 2RF, mate.
Oh, you haven't done yours yet?
I haven't.
Oh, sorry. They're just probably not very memorable.
You're crunching numbers. Not very memorable. Cameron Murray, 3-round average, 75 points. 480K pickup. Not bad.
Lucky that anyone that's ever played in the front row for South Sydney's got injured for you over the last 2 weeks. But anyway, proceed.
626K, Breakevens 49, 700K in no time. Probably more expensive than Hopgood. Thank you. Cam Murray, Dave Fafita, Britton Nikora, Ryan Matterson, Brendan Piakura. Bit of a blow him getting benched this week because... Firstly, it surprised me. Negative 23 break even, so hopefully get some decent minutes, but he'll be probably a late upgrade for me at some point.
Yep.
And Jack Howarth is the jewel that I ended up bringing in last week. So 6 there, 4 guns, Piakura. Piakura is likely to end up being a Tino or Payne Haas at some stage in the season if I do need to bolster my front row at some point.
Fair shout. All right, should we move into... So I think we're pretty even in 2 RFs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't think there's anyone at 2RF that I'm sitting there going, oh, geez, I wish I had him. Oh, I would have liked to have Hopgood, but I made the Murray trade, which I'm happy about. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, halfbacks. We've both got Cleary and Hines.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, every chance Sean Johnson makes me eat my words this weekend, but I feel so confident having those two.
I'm the same. Yeah.
I just think with SJ, we said it a few weeks ago, fantastic player, is in incredible form, but he'd want to be in incredible form because if he doesn't come up with big plays, you're looking at a 30 or a 40. Whereas these two can do fuck all and score 60, 70.
Mentioned on the Playbook potty last night, and we had Ryan Selvage from SuperCoach 365 on the potty, and he was saying, how'd you feel when he said hold Hines and don't get SJ, and then SJ went 150, and I was like, well, I had faith in Hines to do well, and he turned up, and obviously SJ's got the early points in the bout between the three key halfbacks, but there's plenty of time to go, and I said last night loosely that because you had to make a trade to get there, SJ probably needs to outdo Nico by at least 100, but probably 150 points between now and the end of the season to justify it, which he very well may do. But as it stands, I'm like, okay, I'm still all right with it. And with the matchup against the Titans this week at Sharp Park, could change pretty quickly.
I'm feeling very good about it. I'm all good.
5'8".
I've got Kalen Ponga and Cody Walker. Who have you got?
Cameron Munster and Cody Walker. It's a nice little one I've got on you there, Munster. It'll essentially be, I've got KP at fullback, so it's Munster v Teddy.
Yeah. Is what it is. I've got the opportunity to bring in Munster this week. He's just not scaring me. He's just not. And we spoke pre-show, and it's obviously hard to work out. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge, but I still think there's a very good chance that Melbourne have a top 4 spot locked up in the last week. I think they've got 2 games in the next 2 weeks. They play the Raiders this week. I think if they beat the Raiders, I reckon there's every chance they do rest.
Isn't it funny? On that logic, if the Raiders upset them down in Melbourne this weekend, you'd be very surprised if they were locked into a 4 by round 27, in which case not a chance he rests. But if they win this week, it's set up fairly well for. Like the Raiders are in, we're 5th or 6th, I think we're 5th. So it sets up really well for them.
But the thing is with the Raiders, their for and against is so fucked that you have to get in front of the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah.
So this weekend is so crucial, and it's wild. The team that I think almost threatens the Melbourne Storm more as far as a top 4 spot is Cronulla and probably Newcastle.
Yeah.
Than Canberra, which is insane, but that's just the way the competition
Big game this week
has played out.
So Munster v Teddy for us on the run home.
Yeah. All right, CTWs. I have got Manu, Marsu, Gagai, Campbell Graham, Ruben Garrick, and then I've got Ty Munro, and then I've got enough Kwai Ward. So I think I've got, 3 CTWs that you don't have?
Go through it one more time, please.
Manu, you've got?
Yeah.
Garrick, you've got?
Yeah.
I think the 3 I've got that you don't are Marsu,
yeah,
Gagai,
yeah,
Campbell Graham. CTW is kind of where it's going to be.
That'll decide us, won't it?
Yeah, that will decide us.
Because it's great. I've got Toto, who you don't own. I've got Alex Johnson, so he and Campbell Graham sort of tit for tat, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've got Jesse Ramian and Ronaldo Mulitala and Ty Munro, who was named as 18th man this week, but could easily come into the side.
I think there's a good chance he does.
So Ramian and Mulitalo, but as I mentioned, I'm pretty keen to hold Ramian this week just for that matchup, but Ramian will probably go to Dallin for me next week. I could do it this week, but I reckon I'll hold off. So yeah, Dallin next week, but no matter how it sort of unfolds, Ramian will probably go to whoever the strike CTW is.
I think it's really interesting with Dallin this week. A lot of people getting him and whatnot, and we've obviously had conversations. I think it's a big punt to do it this week. I think people are undervaluing how important Chance is on that edge.
That's a big factor in why I'm holding off.
Yeah. And, mate, Chance could be out for a while.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he played. He's obviously out this week. I'd be very surprised if he played the following week. NRL Physio on his Insta had a video saying that of the last 3-4 people that had 3 concussions in a season, it ended their season. So we might not see him to week 1 of finals potentially.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. And Riser made a good point on the potty last night that
Riser
that very small sample size, but they were playing against a 12-man Titans last week for 60-odd minutes, and the only try Dallin scored was off that late kick on the buzzer, basically. So small sample size with Torpiki at fullback, but so I'm happy just to give it a week, see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think Torpiki, from what I've seen, more of a runner of the football too.
Can absolutely kill a good winger. So, I mean, he does get a lot off SJ as well, but chances are really the man sweeping doing the damage for him. So hold off on that one. So if it doesn't become Dallin, I'll be moving on to whoever a good CTW is for the run home.
Yeah, and even just for the Warriors and their gameplay, like, fuck, they're going to miss chances, runs out of his own end. He's fucking tough. Yeah. It doesn't always show on the stats, but he's tough. And then fullback, mate, we've both got Trell Mitt. Very refreshing after last year's shit fight. And I've got James Tedesco. You've got
Colleen Ponga.
Oh, you got Ponga there. Yeah, nice.
So, yeah, looking at that is CT Dubs essentially going to decide it for us. The Munster versus Teddy one will be a big one.
Yep.
It'll be a big one, but I can also see them both averaging 80 on the run home.
Yeah, I reckon they will just about eliminate each other. I think a lot of it will come down to who scores. Oh, well, I think that if neither AJ and Campbell score tries, I will win that. Campbell just base studies way.
Yeah.
20 more points a week. It'll come down to tries.
AJ always scores tries.
We hope so.
He scores them when the bunnies are going shit. Imagine when they start turning one on for us.
Campbell Graham, no stranger to scoring a meat pie this year. I think he's got 15 next to his name. Was held up over the weekend.
Campbell Graham is a stranger to scoring 40 plus the last 2 weeks.
We'll see. We'll see. He's about to come into his own, Campbell. Hasn't been a good 2 weeks, though. Let's be honest here.
Good finish, mate.
Need him to turn it around for draft and classic and probably all my bets this weekend. Okay. The weekly winner for this week, which in a shocking turn of events to those at home, I haven't prepared. Let's see if my computer shits itself again. Geez, James, the Raging Pole, he is still flying up there. Still in third place.
For a very long time.
I had a look yesterday, Timmy, speaking of being in third a long time. I had a look at my draft comp because we start finals this week. I have been fourth since round 13 and haven't moved. How bizarre is that? At no point did I move throughout the last 12 weeks.
You were telling me after round 7 you had the minor premiership locked up.
I thought I did.
You held on to the 4, though.
Shout out to the boys. Coming for you. Brace yourselves. All right, the round score for this week was Jamie. He's the coach of Meat Pies. 1,655 with a rank of about 16,000. So once again, not a sniper team. Shout out to Scott, who got the third highest score in our thing, going for a bit of that corporate bicky. His team name is, did someone say KFC? Which I back.
It'd have to be a bonus for that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So Meat Pies, coached by Jamie. Reach out, bizandbreakevens@gmail.com. I have all of your emails. Our hats are currently being made at the moment. They are being shipped to the embroidery joint, and then I will pick them up and they'll be sent out to you. So you will have them.
I reckon that's Jamie Burer, and I reckon he's named it after his 2012 season where he just scored meat pies for fun.
That was a bizarre season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a real weird season.
Jamie Burer, one of the greats. Fuck, that Origin gig was tough for Jamie Burer. Fucking so. No one deserved that less than Jamie fucking Burer.
Poor old Jamie.
Poor old Jamie. Sorry, I mean, like, no one deserved to get fucking treated that way less than Jamie. Very good player.
I know. Robbed. That was an all-time season, that one. I think it was 2012. 2012 he played Origin. Anyway, I digress.
Shout out to the guy that finished 15th in our comp this week. His name is Jay, and his team name is, ready for this? You'll love this. Raiders, 89, 90, 94, 23.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Jay.
Football and hat coming your way. Guru, sort them
out. We have also, we've ordered, as I said, we've ordered the hats. I might have got a couple of extras, so maybe we can have some fun on the run home.
Yeah, we'll find some good
couple of competitions and shit.
Yep.
Okay. Back on task. All right, we'll go to Teamless Tuesday. We've got the Manly Seagulls taking on the Penny Panthers this Thursday night, 7:50 p.m. from Brookie. For Manly, Lodge out, Burbo's on the edge, Tuolungi on the bench. For Penrith, still no sign of Isaac Tungo. Hosking named at centre once again. Anything on this game?
Only that I thought, so Critter went to left edge last week, Hosking played right centre. Thought Hosking would be detrimental to Brian Toto. Toto's never had more clean ball in his life.
Yeah, wild. Yeah.
He set up, might have been a couple for him, and then there was one tip on that he did butcher, but at least he looked to pass it, which is a refreshing change for Bizza. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
My draft comp this week, the guy I'm playing, he has Brian Toto. So I've been looking at that matchup against Manly for a few weeks going, fuck, Toto could light it up. But in my head, I was like, I've got Nath Cleary, so it's okay. Now I've ended up with Zach Hosking, the right centre as well. So I'm like, fuck it. Whatever Brian Toto scores, I'm going to pick up some scraps. That's fine.
You're getting something.
Yeah. Sharks versus Titans, Friday, 6 p.m. at Shark Park. For the Titans, Jaden Campbell, he's at fullback. Jolliffe and Tino back in the front row. Mate, Jermaine Jolliffe, I think he is very, very underrated. I like him. I feel like I haven't said his name in a few weeks.
He's been injured.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's a good little front row.
Yeah, and...
Not as good as the other front row that's come in, but we'll talk about him in a minute.
Oh, exactly you. And people like in and around the club and Titans fans, they all speak so highly of him, and he's managed to slip under the radar. But, yeah, big in for them.
Shout out to him. Drafted him round 18 this year. Didn't make it to the season, but shout out to him. Tino obviously comes into the front row forward and into my team, Hearts and Dreams. Aaron Clark at 13. Oh, mate, what about Sammy Verrills? Poor bastard.
He's had a tough run.
Tough run. Out for the season. So Chrissy Randall starts at 9. And you'll have Cruz Leeming coming off the bench. Cruz Leeming I thought he went back to England 3 weeks ago, fame, but still hanging in there apparently.
I thought I saw that he had as well. It's obviously for next year.
Sure, yeah. I've got no idea. Mo Fodawaker, he is also out this week off the back of that send-off last week. For the Sharkies, Mulatalo, he quickly, comes, yep.
Very weird of you to start on the away team
there. Now, for those eagle-eyed people out there, they might be able to work out why I did that. Actually, I'll tell you what. If you can work out why I started with the Titans, there might be a hat in it for you. So leave it in the comments. You need to find the exact reason why I did it. So just another episode of Ruse Clues here. Let's see how you go. Leave it in the comments. Maybe you'll get a hat. Maybe you won't.
I'm intrigued.
Talk to me after. Don't enter the competition.
Okay.
For the Sharkies, Mulatalo is in Hazleton. He is out. For the Broncos v Eels, Friday night, 8 p.m. from the Gabba. For the Broncos, Dean Mariner on the wing, Jordan Ricky on the edge, Piakura on the bench. For Para, my boy, Assi at centre, Bailey Simonson's on the wing, Davies on the edge, Matto's on the bench, Hands is also on the bench. I've been calling for Assi for weeks to play centre, and this week he's playing centre marking Katoni Staggs, and I'm a little bit nervous for him. I think he's going to be marking him anyway. He'll be left side, won't he? Because Will Pensini's right.
Will's right.
Yeah, so he'll be marking Tony Staggs, which is great for my draft matchup, but yeah, a little bit worried about Assi there.
I'm still rattled by why you're going right to left.
What do you mean?
With the teams.
Well, if you can work it out, there's a hat there for you.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Aren't Broncos are the home team?
Oh, you spoke Broncos. I was trying to work out your riddle.
No.
So I'm going to be absent for the rest of the show trying to work
Get my guy a straight jacket, please. Yeah. South versus the Red V, Saturday, 3 p.m. That's coming to you from Cairns. We had a little venture to Cairns at the start of the year, and it was right up there with the best 24 hours of my life, Timmy. What a spot.
So much fun.
It was great. We had a fucking unreal time.
We were on the dance floor, and Matey the Water Boy was going solo. Then the dance floor picked up, and we met a carbon copy of Big Red, Corey Horsburgh, who was doing the worm with his rig out on the middle of the dance floor about 2 a.m. Great fun.
Yeah. Shout out to those boys. Good time. I'm going to give them a little bit of a sledge. I remember walking home from the pub on the first night, and they were telling us how they were going to bend and they were going to do this and they were going to do that. And then we were walking home, and I think 2 of them vomited on the way home. So, yeah, boys coming up for their end of season cricket club. Shout out to them.
Yeah, they are bright-eyed young bucks.
Oh, yeah.
The bright lights of Cairns got them.
Yeah, they were living in the trenches very early. To their credit, though, we did see them the next night at about midnight. They missed the bloke show, which I think is what they came up there for. But they were having a good time. Souths, Every single front row forward is out. Sele, Totola, Turgis. Ty Munro's out. Tane Milne is in. Worth noting, Ty Munro, I don't think he's been named in New South Wales Cup and stuff, so every chance he does come into the side. So Shaq and Arrow will be the front row forwards. Anything else you want to touch on with South Sydney? Okay, Murray.
300 average, 75 points.
Please. Dragons, Zach Lomax is out. Jack Bird is out. Fangai at centre. Ben Murdoch-Masila in jersey 13. I am not a Ben Murdoch-Masila owner, Timmy, and I'm stoked I'm not, because this guy could fuck a lot of things on the way home.
He could as an AA emergency, but to be fair, as a big minute starting 13, he could hit double figures this week.
Tigers versus the Wars, 5:30 p.m. Saturday in Hamilton. Shout out to the Tigers giving their home game to New Zealand. Love to see it. For the Tigers,
hate to see it as a non-Warriors player.
Scares the shit out of me, but credit to the Tigers.
Tohu Harris probably not the one who's going to go large against him, so...
Asu Kapoa in the centres. Charlie Staines out. Blore back on the bench for the Wars. Obviously, C&K out. Torpiki, the Magician, comes back into the side or remains in there from last week. Anything on that game?
I'm going to call Riser out, the poor bugger, because he did a great job on the show last night. But he goes, worth noting when we were talking about Sean Johnson's matchup and the Warriors in general. He goes, it's meant to be rainy in Hamilton on Saturday, which we know Johnson and the Warriors have struggled in the wet this season. End of the show, he goes, yeah, it turns out I looked up Hamilton in Canada. He goes, then he double-checked it once he realised it was also rainy in Hamilton, New Zealand.
Oh, shout out to Riser. How good. And worth noting as well that Bitch Marnette is in the front row for the Warriors. Chooks v. the Dolphins, Saturday, 7:35, coming to you from the SFS. I was thinking the other day, Timmy, what stadiums will you, no matter who sponsors them or what they're called, like I will always call that the SFS. Brookie Oval will always be Brookie to me. What stadium will you always just refer to? What's the big one for you?
Brookie's the big one.
Yep.
Shark Park.
Shark Park, yeah, that's never changing.
Yep. Bruce Stadium in Canberra.
Yeah, okay.
They're the big ones that come to mind.
So that's another one that always comes to mind for me from when I was a kid, is I always go to call Newcastle Marathon. Marathon Stadium every single time.
That's a ripper.
That one always gets me.
Marathon.
Dairy Farmers.
Yeah.
Up in North Queensland is another one.
Dairy Farmers.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If Suncorp isn't forever the sponsor of Brisbane, if they change, you're at billions. Yeah. I'm calling that Suncorp for eternity. Yeah. It's never going to change.
And old people, I'd hope, are still calling it Lang Park.
Yeah. Okay, Chooks, Hutcho at 7, Wong remains on the edge. Dylan Napa, shout out to him, the long way around, but he's got back into first grade. No Egan Butcher yet. Wong's an interesting guy, 50-odd tackles last week, almost scored a try. If you had the trades to do it, which we do and we're still not doing it, but interesting little downgrade option if you wanted to.
Yeah, well, surprise, surprise, I didn't really want enough last week with my freeing up cash trade. I ended up going Jack Howarth just because there was basically not a lot else on offer. But Wong was one that I looked at because it had to be a 2RF.
Yep.
But unless they want to blood him the rest of the season, I still think he's warm in the seat for Egan Butcher, who's now out for 2 weeks. I just assume Egan Butcher will be back this week. He's not named. So you think he probably comes in on the edge for him next week. There's also... haven't heard anything on Angus Crichton in a while. Do you know what's...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him again.
Oh, really? Okay, so that helps you.
Injury. I think injury-wise, yeah.
Yeah. So I still think Egan Butcher comes in, but maybe they just go, look, Josh Wyland, Roosters close enough to being done from finals. They just keep playing him. I don't know.
Yeah. For the Dolphins, Sean O'Sullivan and Cartara in the halves, Hammer and Tafare in the centres, Nikorima at 1. Nothing else to really touch on there, right?
Nope.
No. For the Storm v Raiders, 2 p.m. from Amy Park. For the Raiders, Ethan Strange making his debut. Great to see. Sebastian Chris, he's obviously out. Sebastian Chris playing his first game at centre for the year, I believe. Absolutely brained it. I would argue the game of his career. Would that be fair? Have to be right up there.
Yeah, right up
Had
there.
a blinder.
Killed it,
unfortunately injured, so Ethan Strange gets his opportunity, so congratulations to Ethan. I think I saw Roasty post the other day that his sister's playing in the NRLW, and his dad is a head coach of the NRLW. So that's
awesome.
Wild. Yeah.
Damn.
Shout out to Ethan. He was at the Roosters a couple of years ago playing SG ball and stuff. Made his way down to Canberra. He's done well for himself, Ethan. For the Melbourne Storm, Coates and Hughes, they have been named. Eisenhuth on the edge. What about this bench? Katoa, Moroa, and Nas. I'll be interested to see what they actually run out with here, because I personally wouldn't be running those three on the bench if I'm playing the Canberra Raiders and they're pack early. But that game could completely flip on its head after 20 minutes, couldn't it?
It could, but
your boys play big minutes, though.
The Storm have got the firepower to come out and just, if we start semi-slow, they can blow us off the park and we can be down plenty early. Not plenty, but we can be down early. You'd think they'd want to match fire with fire early and turn it into that.
Yeah.
You think Kelly Gatala starts? He's 2 games back from injury, surely.
Yeah, surely he starts. Yeah. Knights Doggies coming here from Newcastle at 4 p.m. Sunday, Arvo. Both Saifitis have been named. Bradman Best out. Now, if you were someone that took a little pod play on Bradman Best, good God, this hurts.
I was looking at...
I seriously looked at him 2 weeks ago.
I was looking at him as super pods for this week, and he was at 1.5% ownership. I went, Bradman Best, with the way that Knights left edge are going and the draw, great play, and then, gone this week. So, put a line through him, but...
Tuala comes in. I've obviously got KP in my draft side, and I don't know what the boys did last night, but they let me get him off the waiver wire, so that could be great get. So fingers crossed. Not a guy I'd look out for classic Tuala, but he could stack some points over the next few weeks. And we know what Bradman Best is like. In fact, I hope he's out for 1 week, but when he's out for one, they can turn into 2 and 3 very quickly.
He's had a bit of time for no Tuala, and I'm hoping now that he comes into a rampant Knights side with KP fit and firing, Hastings on the inside, that we can see the best of him.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Doggies, Tavita Penko Jr. starting. Kiraz in the centres again. Wilson on the wing, but the big news, mate, on the bench, Lukey Thompson. How bloody good.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Been a long time.
Yeah, great to see. And the Doggies, pretty well full strength, eh?
It's a nice side too.
It is a nice side. So, if it was the Doggy side that ran out a month ago that got 66 put on them, you just lock and load KP, your captain, but coming off the bye, full strength, just changes things a little bit.
I was looking through the games yesterday and the matchups, and the amount of games that are like long odds, and I was going through them like, Manly's at $9, a few teams are in a similar boat, and I thought, oh geez, the Doggies will be like that too, and I got down there, they're like $3.50, which is credit to it's interesting because all form points to Newcastle should slaughter. Like, it's in Newcastle on a Sunday arvo.
Yeah.
Both Saifidis back in. So, hopefully Canterbury put up a fight for NRL. But for me, I hope not. All right, your topic. Now, something a little bit different this week. But I think it's a movement that you can start, mate.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So... we know people bluff about rules and this and that all the time in SuperCoach and interpretations and da-da. I normally try and steer relatively clear of it. And I think to those at SuperCoach HQ's credit, the game's in a good place. I think 98% of stuff they have going on is correct, but there's a few things. I just want to touch on one thing coming off the weekend that I think has to change in 2024. And I think that is just around HIAs. They need to, just much like the NRL moving with the times, I think SuperCoach need to move with the times a little bit and be willing to adapt, and not say they haven't a little bit in the past, but it's around having basically an auto emergency that can come into play for when someone gets HIA'd early on in games. And we take Chance as an example on the weekend, and it's not me having a bitch and moan because I didn't know Chance actually got away with this one, but he lasted, I think, about 19 minutes in that game. And I just think there has to be something put in place, and there are a bunch of options to counter this because it brings luck into the equation too much. Now, over the years and prior to this crackdown on head knocks where you get a flick in the ear and you're gone for the game, you'd have your injuries there and you'd sit there and go, oh, look, injuries happen. It's a game of luck, but HIAs, we know they're going to happen and just absolutely screw people. And the one on the weekend was almost a bit of an exception because it was a pretty bad one to Chance, but there are ones that are so minor, like Lemuelu.
Yep.
2 weeks ago, for example, the Spy had him, and there was nothing in that. Got deemed Category 1 and he couldn't come back on. They went and fought that and said, like, no, it wasn't Category 1. Like, we disagree, and we thought he could have gone back on. Something like that can be so detrimental to Supercoach. So what I'd suggest is, and this is just a general idea rather than the specifics of it, I just think there has to be an auto emergency come in for a player that, let's say they go down with a HIA they fail a HIA within 20 minutes of a game, as per chance. You could maybe do first half, but then it becomes a bit murky if, that player scores a couple of tries in the first half, etc., and they score well and you want the score. But say first 20, maybe first 25 minutes, they fail a HIA. Not only do you get an AE come in for that player, but you get to select that AE from your extended bench, obviously prior to the weekend starting. BBL Supercoach does it. AFL Supercoach do it. You can pick an AE from each position. So say it was Charge at centre on the weekend, you might go, well, I had Tyrone Munro there and he was my AE. Charge went down within the first 20. Tyrone Munro comes in and he becomes your starting CT dub. It just takes so much of the luck factor out of it. And I know I harp on about depth and all that, but it rewards a bit of depth in your squad, actually having planned for it, built your cap, done all that sort of thing. I really think, and there's a million different ways you can go about it, as I said. What's your take on it?
Firstly, I want to echo that I think Supercoach does a tremendous job, and 98%, as you said, is fantastic. I think we too often want to focus on the 2%.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, exactly what you said, mate. I think it's time that we adapt to the times, and I don't hold it against Supercoach for not having something like this at the start of the season. But I think it's very evident now, and I think it's very evident that we are taking HIAs and everything. Like, we're not going to take it less seriously over the next few years.
It's going to intensify.
Yeah, it's going to intensify, as it probably should, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I do think we need to adapt to it to some extent. And I like this idea, mate. When you first said it to me, I sort of thought, maybe you go first half, but it is a good point. Like, because it's Supercoach, it will happen. Someone will score 3 tries in the first half, get HIA'd, and instead of getting their 86, you'll get someone's 25 or whatever. You mentioned having an AE for each position that you nominate. I think you would have your starting team, you'd have your 4 reserves, and then you would have one player that you would nominate as an AE. Yeah, like your 18th man. That's exactly what it would be. Yeah. And I think that the other factor, which we spoke about earlier, is that there was the idea that floated that it could be used as like a looping mechanism.
Like essentially a relatively free VC loop every week.
I think that this only gets activated for HIAs, nothing else.
Yep.
So if you want to loop and you want to use a non-playing player somewhere in your side, good as gold, that's fine, but you will still get your lowest score, not your AE score. Yep. And I don't know how it would work on the back end and whatnot, but do it for other sports. I think it just makes sense, doesn't it?
Said News Corp's 2 other Supercoach games do it already and have done for years.
It's bizarre to me that they've had it for years and NRL doesn't have it.
I don't understand it.
Yeah. And I'm sure there'd be reasoning behind it or logic behind it, but I just, off the dome, I can't figure it out.
And, so whether it's an 18th man, whether an AE in each position is the answer, like even an AE in each position, like I find it ridiculous that you can have a ton of depth and, a player goes down and then you get Sonny Luke 7 when 5 players went 70 plus on your bench. Like, reward them for like the player in the position coming in. Again, there's finer details that would have to be rounded out, but I don't think it's that hard, and it could just be as simple as 18th man, you select who it is before the round starts, failed HIA within 20 minutes, that player comes in.
Yeah, and they just need to set a minute, and if it's 25 minutes and 3 seconds, tough shit. Yeah. You had your chance there.
For sure.
I like it.
Thanks, mate.
Let's make it work.
Shout out Tom Sangster.
Yes. Not the real guru.
The OG guru.
Fucking pretender. All right, your stats deep dive. Now, this week, captains, honestly, this might be the most intense week of captains potentially ever. And people go, oh, it's hyperbolic. I don't think it is.
It's not.
It's insane this week. So our stats deep dive this week will sort of cover our captain options, and the guys are going to talk about, because Timmy has gone deep here. He's got birth certificates of players. He's got it all. Got what Cleary had for breakfast yesterday on this list here. So I'm going to hand over to you, mate. Take us away.
Yeah. So on the Playbook Potty last night, we had a big conversation about 5 players, 5 captaincy options. we sort of did the brief overview of it. Now, I know people listen to both, so I don't want to double down and talk about the exact same things. Obviously, we'll get Guru's opinions on these 5 players, but I don't want to be repeating myself. So I've broken it down into a statistical deep dive. Now, first thing I will say is that this is a guide. It provides data, it's great data, but it's only a guide. It doesn't take into everything. So it's very centric around left and right side edges defensively, what teams in SuperCoach concede SuperCoach points-wise to certain positions. This won't take into account the fact that Manly have recently had a middle injury crisis. It won't take into account that the Doggies are back to full strength. It's across the course of the season. So it's just to be a bit of an aid. Now listen to these 5 matchups. Kalen Ponga versus the Bulldogs, Nicho Hynes versus the Titans, Latrell Mitchell versus the Dragons, Sean Johnson versus the Tigers, Nathan Cleary versus the Manly Seagulls. Any other given week, any of them players have that matchup, you lock and load them. They're all 5 very highly owned players as well. The differential there will be the big one as SJ versus Nicho Hynes because you can't have 3 halfbacks. Now, let's get down to the left and right edges, who they're going up against. Now, we'll start with Kalen Ponga, who as it stands is the most captained player. He's a fullback, so in theory he'll be left side, he'll be right side, and he can score over the park, but we know that he's pretty left side dominant. The Bulldogs' right edge concede 33% of their tries compared to 37% on the left. However, I'm willing to flip this one because the Doggies' left edge is back to full strength with Kikau, Matty Burton's obviously there. Blake Wilson has actually switched edges.
Yep.
But I do think that edge will probably become stronger off the back of Kikau coming in. So probably don't read too much into that. The Canterbury Bulldogs concede the 7th most SuperCoach points to fullbacks in SuperCoach. So middle tier, nothing massive.
Yep.
Kalen Ponga, captain this week, talk to me.
Very appealing. 2 weeks ago, I was looking at this matchup going, juicy. I'm locking in 150 there. But I think the Canterbury Bulldogs put up a real fight. I'm glad it's in Newcastle. That's the one sort of saving grace. But, mate, I'm sort of looking somewhere else, to be honest with you.
And the one thing I agree with all those sentiments, yes, the Doggies are back to full strength, but there are also a bunch of new combinations.
Yep.
They haven't really played together. Nicho Hynes against the Titans. I think he was the 3rd most popular captain. The Titans' left edge concede 33% of tries, and that is the edge that Nicho go up against. It is significantly their stronger defensive edge. Their right edge, a lot weaker, concedes 40%, with obviously the rest being in the middle. I would imagine if you did that around games without Kieran Foran, that'd be even more skewed. Now, the Titans concede the 9th most points to halves, so about middle of the table, so nothing too telling there. The difference with Nicho, again, he really plays both sides. I think he set up both his tries on the other edge last week. So, I mean, that data doesn't tell us a heap. Nicho Hynes, captain versus the Titans.
Seriously considering it. Very appealing to me, especially with low ownership, Nicho Hynes. Very, very appealing. I think my VC option is still to come, the one I'm definitely locked into, but then Nicho Hynes... It'll be Hynes or KP as my captain if Cleary doesn't do well. I've got to decide which one. I'm leaning towards Hynes right now. Oh, wait, I can't do that if I'm VCing Cleary.
Just waiting
Sorry,
for the fall there.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't know.
That was going to be my next question. If you're going Nicho, are you happy to forego the no VC loop opportunity? I've got Toto, who, look, he'd really have to go 150 odd to not captain someone else, but... At least I've got an option, but you can't go Cleary in Nicho. Isn't it funny how deep we dive into SuperCoach, how often we play, and the amount of times you go, they're the same position, you can't do it.
Same position, can't do it. Yeah.
I do it at least once a fortnight.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's so hard when you do a show like this because you've got to make a decision on Wednesday morning. Like, I will make this decision Thursday at 6 p.m.
Yeah. We'll give our guide.
Yeah, so I Hines is just so appealing to me, but I don't think I can leave Nath without something on him.
Do you have any dud AEs that are coming?
Not overly. I'll just get my team up again. Like I was looking at it last week going, okay. Oh, I was looking at it today when I was doing my trades going. So that my players that are playing this week that I'm not using, Horsburgh, Bateman, Garrick.
And at least you'll know Garrick Thursday night. Because he's obviously concerned.
Oh, I still think Garrick will get 30 or 40.
Yeah, Horsburgh and Bateman, they'll go their 50 to 60 minimum, you think. So you're well set up. You've got a great chance at it. My concern is, I was really happy with all my matchups with the players I was sitting, and then P. Kura got benched.
Yeah.
That's a dagger.
Yeah, not ideal.
Latrell Mitchell versus the Dragons. Now, the Dragons concede the 5th most Supercoach points to fullbacks, so pretty friendly matchup there. Latrell's another one who is a fullback and can do damage on both sides, but I do think he does the majority of it on the left. Will we agree with that?
Yep.
Early in the season, it did skew for a little bit, but I think that was potentially a bit of an anomaly. The Dragons' right edge, which will be coming up against the Bunnies' left, concedes 28% of their tries. Their left edge, 53%. Now that's comfortably. That's one of the worst edges in the NRL defensively. Zach Lomax is out, so that'll change things a little bit, but Ben Hunt's so good defensively as well that him on the right edge helps a lot. So not ideal, but again, it's Latrell, both fullbacks. Either side, not a major issue. Latrell versus the Dragons.
Not even considering it. Doesn't interest me at all. I think the Dragons are a really good chance to pull an upset here, or get very close to pulling an upset. So Latrell, I am not even considering.
If they were full strength,
different story.
I definitely would. I'm with you. Without so many of their key middles, Sele, Totola, Burgess.
Bro, we've been saying for a month when they're missing one of them, they're a different footy side.
Yeah.
They're missing all of them.
Yeah, it becomes a huge concern.
Yeah. And like Jaira's playing, but Jaira's not sweet at the moment.
Sean Johnson versus the Tigers. So the Tigers are conceding around about the 3rd to 4th most Supercoach points to halves.
Yep.
A lot. They concede 42% of tries on their left edge, which is what SJ will be going at, their weaker edge. Their right edge, 38%. So not a massive difference. But what we know about the Tigers is they don't concede a heap through the middle. Both their edges are very brittle. So either way, good matchup for SJ. Again, you don't own him, but let's say you did.
Don't own him, but I would have him above Latrell, but I would have him below the other three. And maybe that's me being biased, and I'm more than happy to wear that if so. But I just worry. I think they are really going to miss Chance. I think he's going to make a big difference. And I don't know. I keep like, and I don't know. It's very easy to go back to the Tigers games and look at the scores and go, no, there's still shit. Like I think they're improving every week. I think they're hanging in games. It is in I wish it wasn't in New Zealand, for fuck's sake. I would rather it be in Hamilton in Canada. That'd be great. Shout out to Riser. But and you know what? Missing Chance, maybe SJ does more. But I don't know. I know the Warriors have turned things around. They look fantastic. I've just always rather go with the proven champions of Supercoach in Hines and Cleary than SJ. So, but as I said, Timmy, and we're probably a little bit the same, the both of us, similar to Latrell last year. We don't own, we're not going to own, so we are potentially a little bit biased on that.
Yep. There is a bit of rain predicted for Hamilton on Saturday. I don't know how much as it stands, but one to really monitor, because I think if the rain does come down with all these other matchups, he's had 2 stinkers in the rain this season, SJ, and so have the Warriors in general. So I'd be putting a line through if that does come.
And as soon as you said rain on West Tigers, I thought back. I think the last game the Tigers won was in the rain against Penrith. And like I genuinely, I thought Luke Brook looks unbelievable the other day as a halfback. So I don't think the Tigers win, but I think they put up a fight.
Yep. Nathan Cleary versus Manly. The old Thursday night game. What makes it even more interesting is that Manly's left edge, the Josh Schuster edge, is who Cleary on the right will be coming up against. Concede 48% of their tries compared to just 30% on the right. Manly concede the 10th most points to halves. You then factor in that they're decimated through their middles. Oh boy, it's tempting.
Very tempting. I don't think I'm going to have the balls to leave him out. as a VC option. I just don't think I'll be able to do it. I'm very confident he will be my VC.
Okay. What does your VC need to go to loop?
With my bench, 120, 130 maybe, I'd be happy to take.
With your bench, fair.
He is the only one. If you said to me, guns ahead, you have to put money on one of them to score over 100, he is the one I'm most confident on, Nathan Cleary. And there is no doubting that whatsoever in my mind. Obviously, that edge, he's got the goal kicking. I'd feel a little bit more confident if he still had Critter on his edge. But similar to these other guys, Nath plays both sides of the ruck. If Manly's getting beat through the middle too, Nath's going to run all day. I think, yeah, he's the one I'm most confident on. If I had like a Sonny Luke or someone still in my team, I think there's a very good chance I would captain Cleary and just go for it.
Yeah, but you've got a decent crack at it.
I've got a crack to be able to do it.
What? It's a hard one to say, but how many minutes do you forecast Piakura getting?
I would not have the slightest fucking clue. It's Ricky's first game back, yeah?
Yeah. He was 18th man last week.
Yeah, I don't know. If everything goes to plan, no HAAs, no injuries, nothing happens, Piakura, I reckon he plays 40 at max. What do you reckon?
I thought he was going to start, so I don't know. The thing is that
he could still start.
They've put Capewell, given Capewell time in the middle this season as well. So does he come on and play 50 straight or something?
Yeah.
The thing is, he's not a big work rate forward, so he does need.
He needs those attacking stats. Yeah.
Yes. I'd like.
Have you got Piakura's ownership there, just out of pure interest?
I can find it. Just
actually, I'll get it. You keep talking.
I'd like nothing more than for Cleary to go like 120, you loop, you've made your trade, something happens to one of the blokes in the extended bench for the Dragons, the young hooker gets called in, comes in and plays 4 minutes off the bench.
For the Tigers.
Who is he? I was trying to just find him. I thought he's a hooker.
Who? My Nuff?
Yeah.
He's from the Tigers.
Oh, I thought he was Dragons.
No, Tigers. His name is I can't remember his last name. His first name is Rua. Yeah.
Rua.
That's him, yes.
He's been looking good in New South Wales Cup, probably.
Could be anything.
Or Ron Massey,
yeah. Might be playing for West Illawarra this week.
All right.
Tough decision, mate. Tough decision, but Cleary's my guy at the moment.
What's your verdict?
Nathan Cleary VC. Then probably see KP at the moment.
I feel sick thinking about it.
Yeah. But I'm, as I said, 100. And the other thing I think, the other reason why I just think you can't leave Cleary out is that he's Thursday. So you will know before KP's game his updates too. And as we know, he could...
In theory.
Well, the Thursday game is the only game I feel confident saying we will have his updates.
Yeah.
Which for me is a fucking huge factor. But then, you know, there's every chance we don't get those updates until Sunday. So then you need to start to think about if you're going to be able to actually loop once you've got those. So the other thing that we all need to consider, if we've actually got the players to be able to do it. Like for me, some of my guys that I would be looking at, my hooker from the West Tigers, I would have to take out Harry Grant, which means that I would have to get him in before, when do they play? Saturday, 5:30, the Tigers, which isn't ideal. Who are my other nuffs? I don't have it. Oh, actually, I've got a CTW from Canterbury. I've got Kwai Ward, so I can wait until the last minute. It would mean I'd have to take Dane Gagai, which I wouldn't be stoked about. But I've got that option there. Yeah,
I could. So it's funny how similar we were thinking, because I think you can make a massive case for all five of those blokes. Even the Trell, who I'm saying I'm not going in, but...
Frank Pelle's the other one too.
Yeah, Pelle's a good one. He's coming useful, well, hopefully. I'm thinking the same. Well, sorry, I'm leaning towards Nicho Hynes. And I love that people have gone to SJ and there's a decent amount who don't own him. I think that's a great matchup with the Titans at Shark Park, 6 p.m. game. I really like that. And then my fullback, which potentially may do still, is exactly what you said, mate, and that's going KP captain and Cleary VC.
Yeah.
What I could do, hopefully, in that event, if that happened, I could drop Tohu 5:30 Saturday, put Pele in, which I'm really happy with all my team. Tohu's the one he could easily, if they do put a score on, get low minutes, score 40, 50 points. I'd be so happy to drop him. Everyone else in my team, like, oh no, I want to play, but he's one that I could sit quite comfortably. So just need to work out what it's worth. And by that point, I'd know what Pete Kura got as well. But as it stands, I'm on Nico Hines.
What, you're on Nico Hines captain?
Yeah.
So you're not going to VC Cleary?
Well, I can't. We just had this conversation.
Fuck. No, I'm just double checking. I think that's very fucking ballsy.
I'm a ballsy kind of guy.
Very, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Sharks playing the Titans, like, on paper it's a good matchup, but that Titan side, with Tino back in.
Mofot out.
Tino in. I don't know. Oh, God, it's going to be such a big week.
It's a massive decision.
Yeah, now that you mentioned the Tohu Harris thing, that might be one of my options too. Franklin.
Definitely the play.
Pele. No, actually, I can only get Frank and Pele into my starting team at front row. Oh, but my other guys are dual, so I can move them around. That's okay.
Decisions. Anyway.
The other option for me would be to play Kwai Ward as my captain. And I said I'd have to take Gagai out, but I've got Marshall as well, so Marshall might be the player to take out there. God,
I'd enjoy if you took Marshall out so much. I would not be doing that.
The more I think, mate, have you been watching Dane Gagai? Marshall scored 53 on the weekend with a try. Gagai scored 70.
But you could take Tohu out.
Oh, I could take Tohu out if I wanted to, yeah.
Marshall versus Tohu.
Mm.
Please play Tohu over Marshall if you need to.
Options. Let's hope no
Sometimes
Cleary.
I wish I'd just shut my mouth and just let you go on about with your antics.
I mean, I didn't play Tohu last week, so I'm not far off the same boat. Fuck, that hurt me.
It looked
Jesus,
good. It looked good for 77 minutes.
It looked great for 77 minutes. Off the back of the Joey Manu bed shit last week. I'm sitting there fucking licking my lips at Tohu, and then he scores a meaty. Unbelievable.
Where are we up to?
Oh, I feel like I need a nap after that topic.
Yeah, there's some crunching.
A lot to take in. All right, your questions. Let's fly through these. James Notley Smith. Ronnie, a play over Garrick, a must-win head-to-head. I'm saying yes.
I like the Ronnie play this week.
Yeah.
He's coming.
Are you playing him?
Very tempted to. I much prefer play week to week at the moment, Ramian over Mulitalo, but edges are a big thing, and Mulitalo gets Manly. Gets the Titans far weaker edge. Ramian doesn't. He'll be going at follows for feed at that area. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards Mulitalo.
I would just say this, something to keep in mind, and it's probably unlikely. Maybe I'm being a bit over the top, but Ronnie hasn't played in 2 weeks. Garrick does play before him. Just keep that in mind.
If he was an out.
If he wasn't out. Like this game's at 6 p.m. Friday, Sharkies. So you would know at 6 p.m. before the Manly game, but if he's...
True.
Yeah, if there's like a Hiroti sitting on the extender bench, that might be a nervous 24 hours for you.
But yeah, all in all, I think Garrick is a terrific sit this week.
Yeah, I agree.
280 points.
Connor Rolfe says, bringing Gagai versus Dogs or DWZ v Tigers. I actually prefer the Dane Gagai play. I really do. I think a lot of people are going in on DWZ, and I understand it. But he is a guy that is scoring a try and getting 50s. Dane Gagai is not scoring tries and getting 70s. I would much rather you all go DWZ, believe me, but I think Gagai is still being slept on wildly.
I think it's pretty close to a coin flip situation, but I'm still leaning towards Dallin. The Chance news doesn't help him, but they've both got brilliant runs. I just think the form SJ's in. He's just going to keep putting them on a platter for Dallin, and yeah, there's not much between them.
Gagai hasn't scored a try in the last 6 weeks. His scores have been 86, 80, 51, 76, 97, 70. I'm taking that every day of the fucking week.
Yeah, Fair. Let's have a look. Where are you?
He plays the Dogs this week. He's got the Bunnies the week after, the Sharks the week after, and then he finishes with the Dragons.
Warriors have a pretty similar draw, though, don't they?
They do, but he's missing his fullback who lays on the vast majority of his points.
Yeah, he's also added. What do you have last week? So he had in his last. He scored 2 tries this season. His last since round 15. So 1 to 3.
He's got 2 tries, he's averaging 72.
Yeah, 6 games. He's had 4 try assists in them. So where's he getting all his points? Yeah, ton of runs.
Mate, look at his base the last few weeks: 42, 40, 37, 44, 51.
Beast.
He could outbase Dallin. Like, he could score more points off base than Dallin scores with a try.
9 tackle breaks last week.
Mate, he is breaking tackles, and they are very Andrew Fafita sort of esque. He's getting 1 or 2 hands on guys, yeah, but it's working for him. He's offloading at will as well. He's having a flyer of a season.
Yeah, as a 1 week play, I like Gagai because the potential pending the rain in Hamilton.
Yep.
But as a long term, look, mate, I don't. They're both great guys.
Plays the Dogs this week. South Sydney the week after isn't ideal. He then gets that Sharks left edge, and then he gets the Dragons to finish the season. So I love Gagai.
Yep.
I'm stoked to have him. Okay, our next question is from Catesy, CNK. Is he a sell?
Yep.
Yeah?
I think so, mate. I think he could easily miss 2+ weeks. I had 3 concussions this season based on what Physio said around the others. So it's a lot of money to be sitting there.
Jeez, that's a tough break for all of you, especially if they don't have trades.
Huge. Look, if they get word out, I don't think there's going to be any word that would say he's expected to play next week either, because concussions, they'll monitor it up to the last minute next week, even if he's named. So, Look, do as you please. If I owned him, I'd be selling.
Yeah. I just think if I was the Warriors too, like I still remember watching him in that grand final that you lost. Like, he was like, did he get taken from the field with 20 to go just because he went too hard? He was like cramping unbelievably, wasn't he? Like, fuck, for a guy like him, and you know how hard he's going to go in finals. I would take the opportunity. I know that Webby came out and said a few weeks ago he's not going to rest anyone. Everyone took that as gospel. I still think they're a chance to rest.
Yeah,
I do. Sure. I'm sorry, but I refuse to fucking believe that when they get to, if they are locked into the top 4, which if they're locked into the top 4, it probably means they're going to have to make 2 to 3 trips to Australia in 3 weeks during finals. Why wouldn't you rest guys? You got no continuity problems.
I reckon he will as well. But yes, barring them playing for a top 4 spot, which they said they look pretty locked in at the moment. Tohu's paying $1 for a rest. Why would you rush Chance back?
And you know what? They might not be complete restings, but I reckon they will be in-game restings.
Yeah. It's
even like, you're the fucking Warriors, as if you want to be travelling to Australia more than what you need to. Yeah. Their last game, I believe, their last game is in Queensland, I think, off the top of my head. So, like, I just don't understand why you would bother travelling to Australia if you don't need to. You've already got a locked up spot. They play the Dolphins in Brisbane in the last week before they have to go on the road for potentially 3 weeks.
Yeah. I think they're restings.
Yeah, anyway.
Unless they go lost and they're playing for top 4, but
then it changes.
Yeah, then it changes. But as it stands, yep.
From Cameron Bell, Dylan Edwards have a good run home for those with a lower budget than KP and Latrell. I believe that you will see restings at the Penrith Panthers in round 27. I'm hearing that is their plan, which is no shock to anyone.
He hasn't missed a game all year.
Yeah, but he's looking fucking busted at the moment, isn't he?
He's 100% get rest.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going near Dill, and I'd be starting to brace yourself if you have got Toto, Cleary's, if you have like a Sorensen as a pod as well.
Yeah. Well, I want to save at least one trade for round 27 for all this, and round 26. But I want to use one on a Bunnies player around 26, potentially 2, but also a Penrith player.
Yeah. Be interesting come that last week, because when you are looking for trades in the last week, there's going to be some great pods that are going to pop up in that Penrith side. Between Peach, between Hosking, these sort of guys that will come in and play good minutes. Be very interesting in the last week. Okay, this one's from Nordo12 with 4 trades left. Is it worth nothing out Sonny Luke? I think this week it is, because I think VCs are could be so important. And maybe that's the hard thing. If you VC Nath Cleary, you can't then get Sonny Luke out.
Yeah. Mason Sonny Luke. I don't know how people have ended up with him for this long. And there's a lot,
had to buy the bullet before.
I don't know. I think I upgraded him to. I might have gone him straight to. I've had Grant all season. Must have been him straight to Brayley, but.
I think
if you got 4 trades, just get rid of him.
Yeah, just get rid of him. It's going to cost you a point somewhere, which is what matters at the moment. He's still in 15,000 teams, Sonny Luke.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing.
A bunch of sleepers in that.
Yes, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think even for like your head-to-head stuff, like I think you have to be getting rid of Sonny Luke.
Who do you? Yeah.
Just too many points to leave out there. Anything else on that? What were you about to ask?
No, I was just going to look what I would probably do rather than straight enough. 4 trades after you have 3 after it. Potentially get in.
Jesus, are you going to lose money trying to nuff Sonny Luke?
Oh yeah, he'd be worth nothing. He's worth 200k.
Oh my god!
I was going to say I'd nearly upgrade him to Joey Lussick 234k. So you've got a backup hooker if shit hits the fan. But then I guess Harry gets rested.
God, I wish Sonny was just $100 cheaper, so you literally had no choice but to lose money on him. That'd be hilarious.
And then Harry Grant could get around 27 rest, and then you're stuck with Lussick, who's also on the bye. Like, that's your problem.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Okay, from Timo Wavy says, is Toto a must-have?
Not a must-have, no.
A must, yeah.
You just mentioned that every chance at a rest round 27. So, goodbye. I've had him all season and he just meandered around that 60 to 65 and probably hurt me a bit at times, not owning a Marju or a few blokes who were going a bit higher particularly around the origin period when a few blokes went big and he had a few rests, but
he's made up for it the last few weeks.
He's made up for it, yeah. So he's been a good hold.
Yeah, I definitely I don't think he's a must-have, but he's done well the last few weeks. What's he scored? He scored at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He scored 9 tries in the last 5 weeks. Toto. That's wild.
Yeah.
Done very, very well. Okay, next question is from... All right, we've got some rogue ones here. Grantos, fast food joint with the best chips. For me, this is a two-way conversation, Timmy. It's where best meets consistency. That's a big thing for me.
Consistency is
I know
huge.
my best, but I also know my consistent.
Because I think I'd say, you know what? KFC I think is the best.
Yeah.
Hands down. They're
Wildly inconsistent though.
Wildly inconsistent. Let's just say that, and I love KFC. They sponsor SuperCoach themselves, but look, some of their establishments aren't the best run joint shit you've ever been to in your life, and you can get some soggy shit, overcooked, undercooked, terrible chips there. So consistency-wise, no, but at their best, KFC.
I'll give you the hot tip, Timmy. When you're living in, you now venture around South Sydney quite a bit. If you're looking for the form guide of K-Fry, I would be avoiding Pagewood KFC.
Yeah.
It's in a very good spot, but can be very hit and miss.
Yeah.
The one at the airport, chef kiss. Always
really?
Yep,
I've never heard of a consistent KFC. The beauty is...
One at the airport's pretty good.
The beauty is they can strike...
Maybe that's in comparison to Pagewood, but...
They can strike out 99% of the time, but just on the chance you get the one, I'm going back every day of the week.
Yeah. Consistency, I think Macca's is the undefeated king, right?
Yeah, same shit every time.
Yeah.
Man, had the best response to that Nuggets chat last week. The amount of people
don't care about SuperCoach.
Coming from the stands to tell me about the appreciation for the Hungry Jacks,
the Hungry Jacks
Nuggets. Jeez, I loved it. I loved every bit of those combos.
I'll give you a really underrated fast food joint with best chips, and you'll scoff, and that's fine. But if you can get yourself the chips from the Mexican joint, not Gomez. What's the other one? Is it Mad Max?
Yeah.
Underrated.
Good chips. Right.
They go good. Get a bit of cheese on there, bit of beef.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Love it.
KFC on their day, my best though.
Hands down.
For sure. Go-to karaoke song. This one comes from Jay Sunders.
Probably a bit of Billy Joel.
I reckon you would enjoy karaoke a lot more than me. I just think you'd be a billion times better at it than me.
Yeah, get enough scoos under the belt. Terrible voice, but surprise, surprise. But yeah, don't mind Billy Joel. I could go like Piano Man or We Didn't Start the Fire.
Piano Man is my father-in-law's
Yeah.
best. He'll drag a table out from nowhere and sit down and get into it. He fucking loves it.
Yeah, massive bonus points if you can play piano too as well.
He can't, but he can play a table very well. Mine, Kenny Rogers, gambler.
Yeah.
On a warm summer's evening.
Very good one.
Always hits. Okay. Last question. This is probably the most important one of the weekend. And if you watch the Monday Bloke Show, you will understand the context here. If not, I will happily explain it to you. From Jack Hudson, Tim's top AFL pods for the run home. Now, why would Jack be wanting to get your top AFL pods?
Oh, because I went to the Aussie Rules on the weekend. It was my girlfriend's birthday present.
Here we go. Let's point some fingers.
Not from me, and I ended up at
She must be 130 by now. It's her birthday every fucking weekend. That's why we never see you.
You know what, dickhead? I had a good night as well.
And did you catch up with the great Christopher Lawrence?
I did. Ran into him. Did a Fox show with him earlier in the year for a couple of months, and ran into him and ended up sitting down sinking beers, talking rugby league. So you know what? It ended up all right. As for my pod for the run home, Warwick Kappa, big finishing coming.
Kappa. Love that. All right. We're going to finish off with a very quick chat. Sit v start. I guess, do we just go through our team and say who we're sitting, who we're starting?
So,
you want to take her away?
Yep. So, sit. My bench for the week, it's kind of picking itself, the bench, because we've got halves and hookers, but Latrell, Cody, Nico, and as it stands, Ryan Matterson.
Yep.
Hoping he comes into the starting side, but to be confirmed. Sitting, it's hard because Ty Munro's out of the 17 at the moment, but Ty Munro, Ramian, Garrick, Piakura, and Brayley. I'm very happy to sit Garrick. My big decision is Mulitalo, Ramian, Munro. I like Mulitalo going at the weak Titans edge. I'm going to back it in and play him. Just as happy to play Ramian if required against the Titans, and Ty Munro becomes a curly one if he does play. But I'm pretty happy with all those decisions. And, yeah.
CDWs, I will be sitting Garrick, and even if Ty Munro plays, I'm going to sit Ty Munro. And then, mate, the only other players I've got to make a decision of probably my last reserve to be Horsburgh or Tohu Harris. One of the two.
I'd play Horsburgh for sure.
He's been a little bit down the last few weeks.
What did he score last week?
56. He's starting to do a very link man-y sort of thing, not offloading as much. But, mate, the one thing
Played 80 on the weekend.
Yes. And he only scored 56.
Corey for sure. 52 in base, though.
I always think you guys get up for a Melbourne game too.
We always have, particularly in Melbourne. I'm more confident
Yeah.
beating Melbourne in Melbourne than I am in Canberra. Tohu's 72. He had a try and a line break with that. 46 in base. That was in 72. I think Big Red's the play.
God, I need to make a decision on that fucking VC loop. It's going to do my head in. Johnny Bateman's the other one that I'm resting. I'm not even considering playing him. I don't think I play Johnny Bateman again this season until the last round when I might need him.
When required.
Yeah.
He'll do a job for you.
All right. Mate, this is going to be a real season defining. Is this the most season defining week, do you reckon?
It is. Because with some of these matchups, there will be 40, 50 point blowouts. There will also be games where sides will get up for these one-sided contests and there won't be the blowouts. And you just want to hope you're on the right end of them.
Right end of them.
I think as it stands, one of the most... If we take out the bye rounds, which are very, big impact, probably the most season defining as it stands, but it won't be the most defining round of the season to come. There will be more.
There will be more.
Possibly two.
The other beauty is too, you obviously nominated 5 guys for captain options, which were absolutely the top 5 players, and it's impossible to have all 5 of them, which I love.
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
I reckon a lot of people in our position or in those top few thousands would have 4 of them. You can't possibly have 5 of them, which makes it super fucking interesting.
People people invested heavily in head-to-head finals, and those sitting around the top 100 overall, it's been a nervous watch all weekend.
Very nervous watch, yeah. All right, we done and dusted.
Yeah.
That was a mammoth.
That was big.
That was a whack.
Out of nowhere, I didn't see that coming.
Yep. Big day. Big day. Guys, make sure you go out and grab yourself a case of Bloke in a Bar this weekend. The beer of Beers and Breakevens, beer of Supercoach, beer of Rugby League, beer of Sport, beer of Kempy with a bub on the way. Not too far off.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Beak due incoming.
Incoming beaks, how good. Blue Wealth Property, guys, they've got August 15th. They have got the property showcase. We'll have the link in the description. If you cannot find it, reach out to myself, reach out to Phoenix over there. We can send you in the right direction. August 15th for the webinar. Means you don't have to go somewhere. It's literally sitting on your computer. Get on the dog and bone. You can sit and watch it. Hour and a half. Just, I think it's so worth just taking an interest in, Timmy.
Yeah, Zed. Start conversation.
Yep.
You might not be looking to buy or invest any of that sort of that for 10 years, but start thinking about it.
Plant a seed, Timmy. Similar to bamboo, it grows under the ground for 5 years before it grows up. Shout out to my dad, who's a horticulturalist who never shuts the fuck up about that sort of shit.
I was going to say you're a wise man, but that's up there.
Yeah, that's right up there. Yeah. Cheers, Malcolm X. All right. Thanks for joining us once again. What did you talk about? You had Riser on Playbook last night.
Yeah, mate, just the big captaincy chats.
Yeah. Worth going and have a listen to Riser's opinion in particular, I think.
Yeah.
You've heard ours now.
Doesn't hold back.
Go and have a listen to Riser's as well. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us once again, and we will see you next week.